earlier when you were mentioning keeping land open to the public. I know there's a lot of public opportunities in the area that you and I are located. What are some challenges or maybe some barriers of getting some of that work done?
Well, I hate to default saying money. We were just on another call. It's like, well, you start with money and then you figure out the rest. But funding is always a challenge. But honestly, I find it more of an opportunity. I hate to look directly at the challenges. The fun part about growing up in Iowa is you got good people all around you. And the fun part about my job is working with those partners, but also working with landowners. My first job was as a farm bill biologist, and that job was literally going out and meeting landowners at their kitchen table and talking about the goals they'd like to accomplish, whether it was just reducing some erosion or putting in wildlife habitat or, trying to get more birds or more deer on the property. So there's opportunities to start building that relationship. Down the road a long ways, sometimes you'll have a landowner that wants to leave their own legacy for conservation, and protect their property with an easement or make it public and try to get it into the conservation board system or into the DNR's public lands habitat system as a WMA. And, being able to help them with that is pretty special. And it's fun when you're in it with people that really want to make a difference. Challenges are all over the place. Sometimes it's figuring out how to actually fundraise for a project, which is part of my job, is working with the partners, looking for grant funding, work with our chapters to do private fundraising locally through our local chapters and our fundraising model. Some of it is finding the right piece of property, because our program, we built a program guidance that has several things that we're trying to focus on. So we're strategically protecting property. We're not just doing it scattered across the state. So things like working in sensitive habitat areas, things like floodplains in Iowa that can not only address habitat, but also water quality and flood mitigation. Trying to look at properties that are immediately adjacent to other public resources. So with wildlife populations, a large chunk of ground is much more stable and much more beneficial and able to produce more benefits than a bunch of little bitty pieces that are kind of scattered or isolated. So finding the right piece in the right place with the right person, figuring out how you're going to acquire that property. And then as Pheasants Forever, we don't tend to hold property in perpetuity. We don't want to own it forever. We don't have a large direct management staff across the country, and we're working in a majority of the country. So what we would generally try to do is work with our partners at the state or at the county level to find an agency that would be a better fit for long-term ownership and management, that has a staff on the ground already that's locally knowledgeable and has those resources and equipment to manage it.